on the video, go ahead and hide yourself. So I have a list of things to review for today. So what the plan was supposed to be for um, this week was to take test number 3, and then I was going to lecture over chapter 4, which was the inequalities of gender. So I already loaded the videos for chapter 10 into Blackboard. Those are YouTube links that are in there. There are also 2 different videos that are in the YouTube links folder, also in the same folder under chapter 10. So make sure you look at those. One of your fellow classmates had a question about the discussion questions. I believe that from here through the rest of the semester, I have opened up all of the discussion questions, and I believe they will close the week before semester exams. That way, if something happens and you need to get that done, they're just there and open. I will tell you that I do request that you wait until we get to that chapter before you answer it. A lot of the discussion questions I kind of made up from the lecture, so I'm hoping that what you're learning from the lecture and the book and the notes and all of that will help you to answer the discussion question, or at least guide it a little bit. So there was someone that already answered the discussion question, I believe, for this week, so I'm not going to grade that until we get to that week. That way, if you want to go in and change your answer, you can do so as well. Let's see, rough drafts. So almost everyone has turned in their rough draft. I believe there are maybe 3 people who haven't turned it in yet. Please get those in as soon as possible. I want to get those back to you as soon as possible. I'm going to start grading those tonight. I like to wait until I get most of them so that way I can look for trends. Maybe if a bunch of people aren't doing something well, that means that I need to change something or talk to you about it. So there's that. The test. So let's talk a little bit of about the test. I think 1 person has taken the test so far. I checked maybe an hour ago. I want to briefly go over the test questions, especially the short answer, and explain those, or at least talk about them. And then after I go through the test, I will unmute all of you, and you can let me know if you have questions and I can explain more. So I'm not looking at you right now, I'm actually looking at the test, so bear with me. So question number 1, define deviance. What 4 things were discussed in class that affect or contribute to things being labeled as deviant? List these 4 things and describe how each affect being labeled deviant. So again, make sure you answer all parts to this question. First, I am asking you to define deviance, and then I'm asking, what does sociology say contributes to something being made deviant or labeled as being deviant? Question number 2, please define and describe the difference between street crime and white-collar crime. Think about who commits these types of crimes, where do these crimes happen, what kinds of crimes do each commit. Finally, use conflict theory to examine how American culture socializes the perception of crime. So there's a lot in that question. So in class, I talked about the difference between street crime and white-collar crime. So street crime is things that happen on the streets. The crimes that you typically hear when you listen to the evening news. White-collar crime is typically not as apparent, or we don't hear about it as often. So describe me the difference and who commits these types of crimes and where do they happen. Finally, use conflict theory. So in your book, in your notes, in our lecture, I shared about the perceptions of crime and using conflict theory. So how are we socialized in the perception of crime? Dogs wandering around. Okay, number 3, now define social stratification. Use one of the three sociological perspectives to explain social stratification. Please define the perspective that you choose. So first, define social stratification, define the perspective, one of the three that you choose, and remember that's conflict theory, functionalism, symbolic interactionism, and then how do they explain social stratification? Okay, I'm gonna pop out of this for just a minute and make sure there's no one in the waiting room. Nope. Okay, going back to that screen. Okay. Number 4, define race. Sociologists argue that race is a social construct, meaning that it is something that society created. It's not real. Please explain this argument and tell me, why was race created? So you'll definitely want to use your book for this. If you don't have it in your notes, it's something that was definitely discussed in the lectures. Number 5, define primary group, secondary group, and reference group. Please provide examples of groups that you belong to and indicate if they are primary, secondary, or reference groups. So define the 3 types of groups and then give me some examples of groups that you belong to and tell me if they're primary, secondary, or reference, okay? Some of you may struggle with this. You don't have to be truthful. You can make it up if you can't remember or figure out, or if you don't think I don't belong to any of these types of groups, just make it up, okay? I won't know the difference anyway. Number 6, define the following terms: social class, social stratification, and class consciousness, okay? And tell me how they're related. The 3 things fit together or they work together. So, you know, define them and then tell me how they all fit together under this thing called social stratification. Okay, so those are the test questions. So I can't see everyone, so I'm going to unmute all of you. Does anyone have any questions about any of the test questions? I hear someone in the background. I don't know. Hang on just a minute. Was someone asking a question? Maybe not. Okay, just the dog. Okay, I'm going to mute you all again. If something happens and you do have a question, just send me an email or send me a Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, gosh, a Blackboard message. I prefer email though, because I get that much quicker. Okay, I'm going to mute you all again. Let's see what's on my list. Normally this time of the year, we are electing a new trustee, a student trustee that will sit on our board of directors for the college. This is kind of a big deal for us at the college. We like to have student input. You all should have gotten an email, I believe, or something went out asking you, you know, if you're interested in running for student trustee, that you had to fill out some application materials. Well, we had 4 students respond. And so today on social media, on Facebook, we posted the 4 candidates, and now they have to get signatures. So just like a normal candidate in a national election, our student trustees only have to get 30 student signatures, okay? It's not like normal, like if you're running for a county office or a state office where they have to get thousands. But we need you, all of our students, to participate. So if you have time and you can pull up Facebook, you can sign for all 4 of them, you can sign for 1 of them, I don't care, but these students need to get signatures. Then starting, I believe, on either Sunday or Monday, the full election will start. So we're going to have it open. It's going to be emailed to you, not through Facebook, because we want to make sure only our students are voting. But through Facebook, through your email, you will be able to vote for one of the 4 candidates. So I would appreciate if you have the time to vote. We want to make sure that we get this done. We have a very quick turnaround. We have to have this done before Our board meeting minutes are due next Thursday, so the election will end on Wednesday. So if you have time, please get that done. So that is the test. That is all of the updates I have. Let me pop over to Blackboard real quick just to make sure that I am not forgetting anything. I'm going to look at our course outline. Okay, for this week it says test number 3 and lecture over chapter 10. So next week we will lecture over chapter 11, and we will probably have more of a discussion about your rough drafts and your final paper being due, because then the following week your final paper is due. So I want to make sure, I know we have Easter coming up this weekend, and I know Easter will be weird for all of us. If you celebrate Easter, you won't be probably getting together with family too much, but don't forget about that research paper. I don't want it to sneak up on you. You are more than welcome to submit your paper early and get it done and out of the way. I'm fine with that, but please wait until you get feedback from me on your rough draft. So this week, the lecture over chapter 10 is about gender. So when we're talking about gender, we're not talking about sex, which is the biology, you know, the physical characteristics. Gender is something different. This is the expression that people make. You express yourself as either female or male. So I please encourage you to watch the lecture videos. I mean, if I do them, hopefully some people watch them. I've seen about, 5 or 6 of you are watching them every week. I'm trying to keep them very short and to the point, and hopefully they're helpful to you in explaining these concepts. So I'm going to unmute all of you. Do any of you have any questions about anything? Anything at all? No? All right, well, that ends our meeting for tonight. Good luck on the test. Please take your time. If you run into any problems with the test, please send me an email, and I will try and remedy the situation for you. I believe the short answer is untimed. I believe you only have maybe 30 minutes for the multiple choice. So just make sure you are ready when you start the multiple choice section of the test, okay? So have a good evening. Good luck on your test. And if you need anything, just email me, okay? Have a good evening. Thank you.